Brandon Blake, 20, says, "You can't write me up. This is my father's badge." Like a pass, he held the captain's shield in his left hand. The fluorescent light is reflected by the metal plate. Blake awaits the officer's comprehension. Right now. Putting down his pen, Judge Frank Caprio says, "Mr. Blake, this court is not run on borrowed. Entitled 20-year-old is devastated by Judge Caprio, who says, this court is not run on borrowed rank. Are you aware of the accusations made against you? I am aware that this is being blown out of proportion. I didn't ask for that." Martin Chong, his attorney, stands composedly and says, "Your Honor, this is a domestic dispute that has unnecessarily risen, and my client is willing to pay the associated fines and settle this issue today." "Mr. Chong, have a seat. This court is not a place to make payments." Doorway. In the courtroom, the words reverberate softly but harshly. Martin Chong initially hesitates, but then takes a seat. "Officer Russo confirmed that the body," Caprio says, tapping his pen once. The audio from the camera is audible. "Yes, Your Honor." All right. Before if you are above 50, please let us know where you are watching this video. Become a subscriber to Courtroom Stories, because the video you're about to view, you'll see what happens if someone tries to use a badge as a coupon. Case file 24 to 10,112. The officer says as he moves forward, "The Commonwealth, I'll have you working school crossings," is a startling threat revealed by body camera audio. In contrast to Blake, Brandon Marcus. Charges: pausing and remaining in a designated fire lane. Refusal to obey a legitimate command. Using one's status as a police officer to threaten and intimidate a shift in responsibility. Inappropriate use of police enforcement identity that was not provided to the driver. The citation was issued on Monday at 11:19 a.m. by Traffic and Patrol Officer Jason Morales. Caprio then leans closer, saying, "Mister, did you get a copy, Blake, of the scene citation?" "I got it." "Have you read it?" "I looked at it." "Not the same thing." Mr. Chong, is your client ready to deal with all these accusations today? Martin Chong gets his feet, cautiously this time. "We are ready to pay the penalty and go on." "Your Honor, there is no prior record for my client." "I didn't inquire about your client's record, counselor. I inquired as to if he was ready to fax." "Sit down now." Caprio says, turning another page. "This is a notice from 8 months ago regarding parking on campus. Mr. Blake park pattern revealed. History of fire lane blockage demonstrates risky entitlement during a university function in an emergency vehicle zone and was given a written warning. It's not a criminal case, but a framework for assessment. What transpired in that instance, Mr. Blake? Campus security was being overly technical. I was only there for 20 minutes. The warning says you didn't move till police were dispatched to the campus. For now, this is not a penalty. It's a habit." Martin Chong gives it another go. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges he could have done a better job managing the situation on Monday. He has come to accept accountability by covering the penalties." Mr. Chong, "The only thing you learn from paying a fine is how to swipe a card. I'd like to know what transpired. Walk me through Monday morning, Mr. Blake." With an audible sigh of frustration, Brandon says, "I was running errands on Westminster Street. In front of Kim's Market, I paused for precisely 2 minutes to get a cup of coffee. There was a fire lane, but no one was using it. A police officer arrived and resolved the issue. Of nothing. To prove that I wasn't just any old person, I showed him my father's badge, causing problems. You parked in a marked fire lane," he continued to write. For 2 minutes. It wasn't even being used. Mr. Fire lanes are not optional, Blake, on the degree of activity. They are intended for dire situations. I'll read a passage from the written declaration of the shop's owner is Harold Kim. The delivery truck was unable to arrive. One of our customers was elderly. The implications of preventing an elderly consumer from picking up their prescription were disclosed. "I'm waiting on her prescription," Brandon says, waving. I'm not at fault. The delivery man had the option to wait. Martin Chong objects and interrupts, saying, "Your Honor, we are introducing an irrelevant difficulty unrelated to the citation." Counselor, A fire lane that is obstructed the fire lane. The barrier to entry is relevant. That is the damage. Caprio turned to face the nearby cop, the sidewall, as well as Officer Morales. Officer Jason Morales moved forward and said, "Please read your narrative into the record." Quiet and clear, and started reading. "I noticed a white car at 11:17 a.m. parked in front of Kim's Market on Westminster in the designated fire lane. The car was empty. The motorist, subsequently identified as Brandon Blake, left the business with a cup at 11:19 a.m. of coffee. I went up to him and told him that he had to move since he was parked in a fire lane. Right away. "I'll move in a minute," he answered, but I clarified that I was still issuing a citation. "This is my dad's," he said, displaying a police badge, more precisely, a captain's shield. "You can't write me a ticket," he said as I carried on writing the citation. I requested his license and registration, saying, "I'll have you working school crossings." He declined, stating, "My father is on patrol. Are you familiar with who I am?" "Officer Morales, did you perceive?" Caprio stops. "Do these remarks constitute intimidation?" "Yes, Your Honor." "It was a taunt," says Brandon, leaning forward. I felt irritated. The terrifying testimony of the officer. "Write it. I'll have you working school crossings. Let's pay attention. Play the audio from the body camera. Officer Russo." Just the pertinent conversation. A momentary static hiss, followed by Brandon's voice, cutting and razor sharp. "Right? I'll have you working school crossings." "Miss Reyes, did anyone contact the court or department about this?" Caprio asks, glancing at his clerk. "This scenario prior to today." "Yes, Your Honor," she says, looking at a log. One voicemail, and 2 calls come from the Providence Police Department's Captain Blake's office. What are the timestamps? First call 11:41 a.m. Second call at 12:08 p.m. Play the voicemail at 12:23 p.m. A man's steady voice says, "This is calling. From Captain Blake's office about my son's minor traffic issue. Case number 24, the 10,112. I want to settle this discreetly before it moves forward. Kindly give this call back." Martin Chong gets up and says, "Your Honor, my client has no control over what his father's office conducts. This is biased. Overruled. Any external pressure must be noted as soon as it occurs." I am Brandon moves in his chair. "I didn't accuse anyone of a crime, just documenting the facts." "Maybe not, but someone thought it would help, so ask him to call." The timeline is as follows. Traffic stop first call from your father's office at 11:41 a.m. at 11:19 a.m., 22 minutes later. Is Mr. Harold Kim available to give a brief statement? Caprio asks, glancing back at the clerk. "He is, Your Honor, by phone." Put him through. A calm, collected man's voice. "Thank you, Your Honor," the speaker says. "Kim's Market in Westminster is owned by myself. The fire lane is essential for emergency access and deliveries. A car stopped it on Monday morning for at least 15 minutes. My delivery driver was unable to arrive. An elderly client was waiting for her medication. She can't walk very far due to her mobility problems. Ambulances are supposed to use that lane, not runs of lattes." Brandon murmurs, "Fire lanes are pre-cleared emergencies." Caprio catches his breath. "Mr. Blake, be sure to express yourself clearly if you have anything to say." I said it wasn't 15 minutes. According to Kim, it was the actions of Officer Morales. The timestamp shows that the citation was issued at 11:24, yet you left the store at 11:19. This is a time that is recorded. "Thank you, Mr. Kim. The phrase ends with your statement is on record." In an attempt to address the situation internally, the captain's father storms a courtroom. "Miss Reyes, this is a screenshot of a text message from the prosecution. Are you able to read it? From Brandon Blake to an anonymous contact. 11:23 a.m. is the timestamp. Monday. Got stopped. Dad's badge was used. He promised to fix it. That was private. It was allowed in evidence," Brandon says, his mouth tightening. "Dear Mr. Blake, let's examine the timeline. Your SMS at 11:23 a.m. The traffic stop at 11:19 a.m. At 11:41 a.m., your father's office made the first call. That's an obvious order. Influence doesn't. Delete acts. You anticipated it even if you didn't ask. You assured someone not to be concerned because your father would fix it. This goes beyond simple annoyance. That's entitled. Martin Chong hesitantly stands up once more. Your Honor, due to Captain Blake's public role, we request that the remainder of this hearing be kept confidential. His position could be impacted by public procedures and create conflict inside the department. Mr. Chong, maintaining the record is essential to being fair. Caprio, I'm going to ask you 3 yes or no questions, she says, glancing at Brandon. Have you parked near the fire? Lane, yes. Did you decline Officer Morales' request for your registration and license? I was going to give it to him. That's not a rejection. Did you say no? Yes. Did you display a captain's badge and jeopardize Officer Morales' assignment by using your father's rank? Brandon, I showed the badge to explain who I was. That's not a no, he says hesitantly. Did you make use of his rank and jeopardize his task? Yes, Your Honor. This feels targeted. Brandon's tone is strained. Other people park in fire lanes and don't end up in court. This isn't about you, Blake. Personality. It has to do with fixing a pattern. While some may park there, not all of them wave at captains. Badge and jeopardizes the employment of an officer. You are not the target. You're being held responsible. Your Honor, Mr. Blake is a college student, says Martin Chong, shifting in his chair, without a criminal history. His future shouldn't be determined by a single error. I concur. Consequently, I'm viewing this as a teaching moment rather than a character assessment. The campus. An advise was a caution. This reference is an outcome. If we don't deal with it right away, your rank does not ride up here, was a judge's famous shutdown. The next time might be worse, such as when a firefighter can't get to structure because someone used authority they didn't deserve. For a few seconds, nobody moves or says anything in the room. Officer Morales is standing by the wall. Martin Chang's pen is motionless, and Brandon glances down at the table. At last, Caprio declares, accountability is quiet so the truth can be heard. This is my choice. All 4 charges are supported by the evidence. The account of Officer Morales is reliable and supported by the text message, a picture of the fire lane, body camera audio, and the call log of the clerk. Mr. Blake blocked emergency traffic by parking in a designated fire lane. Access. He disregarded a legitimate request to present identification. He employed law enforcement. Credentials that weren't his and made use of his father's position in a way that Officer Morales perceived as dangerous. Caprio stops. He anticipated special treatment due to borrowed power, but this court doesn't. Determine situations using family emblems, links, or titles. The borrowed power is still abuse of power. Your father's rank does not apply to you, Mr. Blake. Your status doesn't. Eliminate injury. He flips a page and says, the badge isn't a voucher. I also see the earlier advisory on campus. That was intended to instruct rather than to punish. You were informed that emergency areas matter. You decided not to take that lesson to heart. Consequences reveal the secrets of privilege. The total amount of penalty is $610. It costs $200 to stop and stand in a fire lane. Turning down $150 is the legal order. $200 for abuse of power and intimidation. The cost of administration is $60. I'm not done, Caprio says, raising his hand as Brandon lets out a breath. $300 of the total will be suspended if you finish a restorative accountability plan completely and on time. If you complete it, that portion is pardoned. If not, you have to pay the entire sum. This is what you need to accomplish. To start, write sincere regrets to Harold Kim and Officer Jason Morales. Absence of form letters or public relations declarations. You must explain what you did and what you discovered in your apology. If both agree, deliver them in person. If not, Send them, and the court will verify receipt. Secondly, fulfill 80 hours of community service through the Community Engagement Program of the Providence Police Department and the Division of Youth Safety. You will assist with walk-ins, take phone calls, and engage in school outreach. No PR assignments or picture shoots. Your hours will be reported to the court by the division commander. Third, assist with 2 school lectures titled Respect the Badge, Don't Borrow Authority. Take a listen to. Officers describe what it's like to have a badge used against them. Fourth, write and record. Badges are for duty, not for discounts, is the title of a 60-second PSA. The script will be reviewed by the court. Just the facts, without branding or family names. Fifth, finish a education on police enforcement families, ethics, and traffic authority. Put the certificate in the court. Write a 700-word essay on borrowed power versus earned respect. Don't use any catchphrases. Mercy isn't a discount or fluff, just the truth. Caprio says, putting down his pen. It's an agreement. In addition, I'm offering the following suggestions on the record to the Providence Police Department, the Traffic Division, and Municipal Court Administration. First, create an ex parte influence log for every instance. I'm also submitting these suggestions to the Traffic Division, the Municipal Court Administration, and the Providence Police Department. To start, create an ex parte influence log for each case. Every week, off-record communications about ongoing cases should be recorded and reported. Second, if a command-level officer needs a supervisor's co-signature or recusal. Third, create an anti-retaliation policy and speak with any employees regarding an active citation. For law enforcement personnel conducting traffic stops involving family members. Fourth, they should be shielded from reprisals if they report intimidation or badge misuse. Create a manual for increasing the severity of fire lane enforcement. Repeat infractions or those tow-first action should result from entitlement claims or badge displays. Fifth, supply a course on the moral and legal ramifications of abusing the law for adolescents and college students. Links in law enforcement. My name is Captain Marcus Blake. I want to take care of this. Caprio remains motionless, saying, Captain, this is an active hearing. You are invited to watch. But I won't talk to you about the matter outside of the record. Respectfully, Your Honor, this is a departmental issue. My credentials were exploited by my son. That is a matter of internal discipline. Captain, you are not responsible for handling this. This is not where your rank rides. Your son has a lawyer. He's got a voice. This remains open to the public. You are in charge of departmental discipline. Transparency in the judiciary is. Brandon cuts me off, saying, Dad, stop. Captain Blake turns to face him. I did this, not you. Brandon says, Dad, stop interfering. It was me, not you, who did this. Captain, your authority ends at that door, Caprio says, his eyes narrowing in surprise. Take a step back. After a moment of hesitation, the captain nods and shifts to the back row. And let your son answer for himself. Brandon follows the plan step by step for the next 8 weeks. During the first week, too much deflection, the court says in rejecting his written apologies. Insufficient responsibility. Officer Morales consents to see him at the station after he makes another attempt and gets better. The exchange is brief, awkward, but essential. Morales explains, When you waved, I was scared to do my work because of the badge. It's not sarcastic. Harold, that is intimidation. Kim emails the court to accept the written apologies, but he does not want to meet in person. He named what went wrong. That's sufficient. During weeks 2 through 7, Brandon works 80 hours with he takes calls, plans school safety visits, and works in the Community Engagement and Youth Safety Division, and assists with walk-in hours. No social media posts or cameras. One cop informs him, respect is reciprocated. You can't use someone else's badge to demand it. In week 6, he assists with, officers describe how it feels when their power is abused while 2 schools converse and listen. The 8-week makeover program starts with no social media or cameras. Every time someone waves their dad's badge, it makes the next. He records a PSA in week 7. The initial version is also. The court returns it because it is polished and ambiguous. He records again in an honest and straightforward manner. The draft is accepted, and he completes the 2-week compliance training without any issues. The data is unambiguous. 80 hours finished, 2 conversations held, 1 PSA authorized, and 1 feeling of. Officer Morales informs the court he showed up addressing entitlement. He paid attention. That is important. Should each instance of credential misuse lead to actual departmental service? If so, please let us know below and sign up for Mercy Stories. Brandon comes to court by himself 8 weeks after the initial hearing. No father, no attorney, no group. Caprio examines the following documents: course certificate, PSA recording, service log, and apologies. Impact revealed by Officer Morales. You made me afraid of doing my job. And textual contemplation. Mr. I've read your reflection, Blake. I would like you to sum it up in your own words. I thought my dad's badge was something I could use, says Brandon, getting up. No script. When I required it, I was unaware that it wasn't mine. It represents his service rather than my convenience. When I threatened Officer Morales' assignment and showed him I didn't only treat him disrespectfully. Every officer who gains authority by performing their duties was treated disrespectfully by me. I made use of. He stops. I also didn't know what it felt like to use my dad's work to avoid my own consequences. Be on the opposite side. When cops described how they doubt effective stops due to intimidation, I realized that I had threatened more than one person. I endangered the procedure. What did you discover? For Morales, the officer, that borrowed power isn't actual power. Theft is what it is. I waved that badge. I prevented him from performing his duties fearlessly. It's not sarcastic. That is mistreatment. What? Did Mr. Kim teach you anything? I'm not the focus of those fire lanes. They are for those in need. Access in an emergency. Caprio nods and says, I blocked a crucial region, not just a parking spot. You stop. Borrowed power isn't real power. It's theft, is Brandon's profound insight. He signs a document saying, I'm forgiving $250 of the borrowing power and started earning respect. Suspended sum. You still owe $360, which must be paid over the course of 6 months in installments. The judiciary will verify your conformity. Fire lanes are for emergencies, not egos, Mr. Blake. So keep that in mind. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm not grateful. Give thanks to those who taught you things I was unable to. The court releases its first ex parte influence 4 months after new policies take effect. Log. During the first 2 weeks, 1 command-level call is documented and processed publicly under the new regulations. Officers claim that the anti-retaliation policy makes them feel safer. Fire lane enforcement. Traffic supervisors inform their staff about the new protocols, increasing around the city. For recurrent or badge-related infractions, 2 procedures are applied. The first quarter saw a 28% decrease in complaints. Brandon's PSA is sent to 16 high schools and systemic change. New guidelines stop badge abuse throughout the department. Utilized in adolescent safety programs. It's not popular or well known, but it's being utilized, and that's sufficient. An officer writes to the court via email. A child asked me in a school discussion if he may use. To avoid a ticket, he used his uncle's badge. I presented the PSA to him. He comprehended. Thank you, Caprio completes his final case of the week on a calm Friday before heading out. He attaches a note card below his bench with the following idea written on it. Badges protect downward, not upward. He considers Officer Jason Morales in the fire lane, Brandon Blake, and Harold Kim shuts off the light while his elderly client waits for her medication. Locks the door. Dramatization for education and storytelling, not reporting or legal advice.